Let's move on. Plans for a garden bridge across the River Thames are proving rather difficult to get off the ground. One of the points of contention for those who object to the whole concept anyway is that £60 million of public money has been provided to build it. 30 million from the Treasury, 30 million from the Mayor, or in effect Transport for London. Last month, one of the local planning authorities involved, Lambeth, said it wouldn't negotiate any further unless this call on public funds was reduced. That now appears to have happened. So is it back on track? Raphael Sheridan has this.
The Garden Bridge was given the go-ahead by Boris Johnson in December 2014, but it has since been dogged by the issues of need, desirability and who was paying for its construction and maintenance. And in September, Lambeth Council seemingly killed off the idea by suspending lease negotiations on land needed for the bridge, concerned that too much public money had been committed to the project. But now it's back on, after council leader Lib Peck reached a deal to limit Transport for London's contributions from £30 million to just £10 million. The Labour mayoral candidate, Sadiq Khan, was quick to claim a share of the credit for the new agreement. Despite the deal, the trust behind the bridge can still spend up to £30 million of TfL's money, 20 million of which is in the form of a 50-year loan agreement. Some doubters have not been won over. The Labour MP in the Lambeth constituency of Vauxhall has her reservations.
This is not really a deal. This is just a cobbling together of facts and figures, putting it round in a way that makes it look like the public saving money, when actually the public is still paying for a project that should never be happening in that area. I don't know why Sadiq has got drawn into this and why he has changed his mind, and I'm very hopeful that he'll do another U-turn.
It seems questions might be asked whether an immediate saving has actually been made.
Well, joining me now is Lib Peck, leader of Lambeth Council. Clear this up. You know, a month ago or a few weeks ago, you were saying you didn't want to go ahead with this bridge, and now you're saying it's absolutely fine to go ahead. Do you know what you're doing?
I'm very clear on what I'm doing. I think this is a creative and ambitious scheme. I hope it will become as distinctive for London as something like the London Eye. But I don't think it could come at any cost. We've been clear from the beginning that Lambeth will not be paying anything towards the scheme. And I think increasingly we've become concerned about the way money has been spent and been pledged. And Transport for London are down to spending 30 million.
So that's your only concern. You actually like the project. Your only concern is about that public money should be spent on it and the fact that there's 30 million earmarked for it. And now you're saying, because 10 million's already been spent by TfL, is that your understanding?
Actually, 20 million has.
Has already been spent,
yes.
Yeah?
And 10 million has also been contracted.
Right, and under this arrangement now, you're saying that 20 million of it, of this 30 million, will only be a loan. It won't be actually long-term spend.
What we have done is intervened to make sure that what was going to cost the London taxpayer £30 million is now going to cost the London taxpayer £10 million. That's a saving of 20 million for the people of Lambeth and for the constituencies that the two gentlemen.
But they're going to spend the money, TfL are going to spend the money, but they're saying it's just going to be a loan.
TfL have spent £20 million already and have also contracted a further £10 million to make sure that they can get in.
But they're going to get the money back, they're saying.
They are going to be able to get the money back. Yes, we are going to be making sure that the Garden Bridge Trust do more private fundraising, that they basically reduce the cost of the overall project, and that they do have to repay back some of the money to Transport for London.
But this is a charity trust that's struggling to get the private money together to build the thing in the first place, and doesn't look like it's going to have huge amounts of income. How on earth has TfL been allowed to agree this kind of deal when there's no guarantee of this money being paid back?
Well, this is a legal agreement. It's a bit like a mortgage. It's a repayment loan, and therefore they have to pay interest on it. So it is a watertight agreement that we have got with Transport for London that has reduced the overall cost to the taxpayer of 20 million.
Right, so over what period? It will be paid back over 50 years?
It will be paid back over 50 years, but in the interim they will be doing a lot to reduce the cost, as I've said, and to increase the private fundraising.
And is there an absolute guarantee that that gets paid back?
And
you say with interest, so there is no loss at all.
There is an absolute guarantee, and I think this is therefore a good deal. We have intervened, we've used our power as Lambeth Council to intervene and get a better deal for the residents of Lambeth and for the residents of London.
Now, you have been concerned about the public money, and apparently so has Sadiq Khan, the Labour mayoral candidate.
Absolutely.
Well, we hear from Kate Hoey there, she doesn't quite know what he's doing. He implies, obviously, he's U-turned once, saying he was against the bridge, and now he's back saying he supports it. What's your comment on that?
Well, I think Sadiq Khan has been clear from the beginning. He likes the project, he thinks it's ambitious, but he has got concerns over how public money's being spent. And I think we've got to put this in context. 56% cuts to our grant in Lambeth from central government. I cannot, with my hand on heart, talk about saving public money and being responsible with it, and then still manage to allow something that's spending public money in the form of Transport for London that carelessly.
We know Lambeth was involved in negotiations. How much was Sadiq Khan involved in negotiations to ensure that this £20 million would come back to taxpayers?
No, Sadiq Khan isn't involved in the negotiations. I'm the leader of Lambeth Council. I'm my own woman. I was at the negotiations, but Sadiq Khan has made his views very clear.
He appeared to take quite a lot of credit for it. It's only give the impression he'd taken credit for that.
No, not at all. I mean, I work very closely with him, and I think he'll make an excellent mayor.
And what about the whole project? Because you've been unhappy with the funding behind it, if you like.
Yeah.
But you all know that other councillors, your own Labour councillors, perhaps particularly in that area, don't like the whole thing full stop. And you know there are a lot of local people that don't like the whole idea full stop.
Yeah,
so why are you going ahead with it?
Well, there are some people very close to the bridge that are opposed to it. And Kate Hoey, the local MP, in the last few weeks has come out against the bridge. And I'm sure she'll now become quite vociferous in some of the things that she thinks are concerns. But those concerns will be addressed through our planning conditions. When it went to Lambeth Planning Committee, it was granted permission, but there were 46 conditions attached to it concerning things like noise and congestion and construction, and all of those need to be satisfied before the bridge moves on to its next phase.
OK, hold on there a second. What do you think, guys, about the bridge?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody would start from the same place. If we can do it without actually impacting massively on Londoners, what a great idea. And I think it's going to be extremely interesting from you for having Kate Hoey and Joanna Lumley on opposite sides of this. It ain't going to be dull. But look, this is not some sort of Pons Asinorum. This is actually a really, really good, exciting idea. And I think it's about time we had a few schemes like this. And one of the things you talked about the Bridge Trust actually raising their own money, I think I mean, you negotiated this, Libs, you would know, I believe it's 12 days a year they're actually going to be able to fundraise using the bridge itself. And so they are actually they've got a sensible
and you
business
think that's
case.
a good idea? That's OK, because that to some people is something that they have a problem with, because it means it's not genuinely a kind of public right-of-way access
I'd be
thing.
quite happy with a bridge that I didn't have before if I could have it every day of the year bar 12. I mean, I still think I'm quids in. And I'm also thinking of the commuters, from Waterloo, crossing the river, going to Bank. I mean, I think this is actually really quite exciting. I like the idea of London leading in things like this.
Let me get Bob in on this. What do you think?
When I came from Waterloo, I went across Hungerford Bridge, which has
well,
been really, really
wasn't it crowded?
And what do you think of the garden idea?
I think, OK, I'm a bit worried about sight lines being ruined. There's some wonderful sights from Waterloo Bridge downriver, and I hope that won't interfere with that incredible panorama. Regarding costs, I mean, in the end, we'll pay one way or other. Someone's going to pay. It means us, one way or other. But I think it's a good idea. It looks jolly nice. It's something unique.
Final point here. He's right to worry about the sightlines. You've already given those up, haven't you, really? The sightlines, he's
No,
right.
not at all. I mean, the sightlines are addressed by our planning committee and they're considered very, very seriously. But I would contest the fact that we're all going to pay for it anyway.
No.
I think we've managed to secure a very good deal.
A very final and quick one. Will this happen? Will the building start very soon then now?
No, it's got to go through the planning conditions, and we're resuming the land negotiations because the bridge needs somewhere to land, and that's on our land in Lambeth.
Well, thanks so much for coming in and clarifying all that.
Thank you.